Hey everyone, Isabelle here, and let's talk about how to make more money from your clients by asking for deposits without scaring them away. So we're going to dive straight into it today. I'm going to share with you exactly when and how to ask for a deposit. So when asking for a deposit, say exactly this. I'm so looking forward to meeting. To confirm our date, I usually ask for a small deposit. Is that okay with you, please? Now, generally the client will say yes and ask for the details, which I will send while also requesting a photo of the receipt as proof of payment. Once I get it and I receive the funds, I consider the booking confirmed. If you're wondering how much to ask for, I typically ask for $100 for sake of ease, just a nice, round, easy number. You can also ask for 10% of the total, which I will do if the booking is a longer one. For instance, if I have an overnight, I'll ask for 10%. Because I don't want to be asking for $100 of quite a large booking because there's not as much of a commitment, especially when I have to set so much time aside. So I know it might seem like you need to come up with all of these fancy different ways to convince a client, but actually it's really just as simple as what I've said here. Straight up, this is all you have to begin with. Now, I generally ask for a deposit once I have confirmed all the booking details. So that includes the date, the time, the location, the style, and the rate, and I've sent selfies. I send the selfies before asking for the deposit because I want to get them excited. I want them to have had more authenticity shown to them that I am who I say I am, which will make them more comfortable to send me money in advance. Remember that you are a random person online that they haven't met before. They can't even see your face. There's a lot of probably fear and nerves with them worrying that they're going to lose their money. So speak with them a little bit first to build rapport. Now, I don't ask for booking requests before getting them to agree to a deposit, simply because I want to be sure that they're definitely a guaranteed client. I don't want to go into all this effort of talking to them and then find out that they're going to try and stuff me around. So once I get all the initial info, I will ask for the deposit, and then once I get the deposit, I'll get them excited by getting onto the special requests. Now, I usually ask for deposits for bookings further than 48 hours away or for any possible time waster clients. And I've covered how to spot if a client is a time waster in another video. So just jump onto my YouTube channel to look for that video and find out all the info on that. I do this to allow time to build rapport with the client, show him that I'm professional and easy to communicate with, and get him excited for our meet. Now, I don't begin our conversation by asking for the deposit because that will not be the best foot to get off to with your client. Kind of like imagine if you walked into a store to buy a dress and before you had even picked up the dress and tried it on or spoken to the store owner, they simply just walked over and said, "Oh, that dress will be $50. Do you want it?" You wouldn't be very inspired to just hand over $50 because you haven't even tried it on. You're not entirely sure that you want it yet. So for the majority of clients, it's better that you do a little bit of communication with them before you jump into asking for a deposit. Now, let's cover why you should actually ask for deposits. Many years ago, I didn't ask for deposits because I was convinced that if I asked for deposits, it would scare clients away and I would lose the client. I was lucky that I had a mentor come along and explain to me that it was actually the exact opposite, that I would save myself time and make more money by asking for deposits. So let's go into exactly why that is now. The number one reason is client authenticity, is that it is a very quick and easy way to weed out pesky time wasters. The majority of clients who don't want to make deposits, if they're meeting with you more than 2 days in advance, because then they've got time to actually go and do it, generally aren't serious clients. Now, there are always exceptions to that rule, but it's a very quick and easy way to weed out a time waster just by asking for a deposit. Secondly, it's time and business management, a method to help you with that. So remember that time is money and you want to be able to prioritize properly qualified, serious clients over less guaranteed clients. So if you've got 2 clients who want to meet with you at the same time on the same day, it's very easy for you to decide who you're going to give that time to, the one being who will make the deposit. You can also find out, even if there isn't a conflicting time, but you can see with the clients that you're communicating with, who do you put more effort into? Who do you spend more time talking to? Who do you make more effort getting ready for? The client who is guaranteed, who has put his money where his mouth is, not the client who hasn't made as much of an effort to show you that he's a serious client. And lastly, most importantly, I think, is that you begin to program yourself with a business mindset. So as you become more practiced at and sure of yourself with taking deposits, you will begin to operate as a business person who values their time and believes in charging accordingly for it. As you begin to operate as a business professional, this will have a flow-on effect to every area of your business and ultimately attract more business success to you. So what I mean by that is that as you start using this method and you see how well it works and you see how it makes a difference to how much money you make and how you spend your energy, you'll start to feel more confident and you'll start to think more in a business-minded way. You'll start to think, how else can I qualify my clients better? How else can I make more money? How else can I better manage my time? This is a really great and quick, easy way to start to get yourself into that mentality. That's why I suggest you start asking for deposits straight away. I know it can be scary to ask for deposits, so let's talk about how you can overcome the fear of deposits. One thing to know is that most serious clients are willing to make a small prepayment to secure something that is of value to them and that they're truly willing to commit to and pay money for. If someone isn't willing to do this, in most cases they aren't properly sold yet, i.e. they aren't serious and they aren't committed to paying for your service, which means that they will either cancel, flake, not show up, or mess you around in some way. If they aren't willing to make a deposit, they most likely aren't real clients anyway. So overcome that fear that, if I ask them for a deposit, I'm going to lose them, by knowing that most of the time, if they won't make a deposit, they actually aren't a real client anyway. You're really not losing anything except for saving yourself time. So it's the exact opposite thing. So switch your perspective when you feel that fear come on and start to think, hey, actually, I'm probably going to be losing time, i.e. losing money, by speaking to this person who isn't willing to make a deposit. Now, for every minute you spend speaking to, preparing for, and waiting on a client who won't make a deposit, you could be using that time on a client who will make a deposit and who is a guaranteed client, or you could be spending time trying to find serious clients who will make deposits. Time spent on non-committal clients is money down the drain. So not only are the clients who won't make a deposit probably not clients anyway, but they're also holding you back from finding the clients who will make a deposit and who will be serious clients. So not only are they not real clients, but they cost you money because they cost you your time, and that's really valuable. And that is worth a lot more to you than a client who isn't going to show up and isn't going to pay you anything, because they've demonstrated that by not paying a deposit. So secondly, how you overcome the fear of deposits is that you remember that clients who don't make deposits are actually costing you money. And lastly, remember that you are not the first person to be scared of losing clients by asking for a deposit. Don't, however, be the last to learn from the experience of others, and by that I mean other working people, by waiting to begin asking for them. When I first started asking for deposits, it felt really foreign to me, but then I actually went online and had a look and realized that a lot of people were already asking for deposits. A lot of people had already learned that valuable lesson, and I wish that I had actually just started asking for them sooner. So don't waste your energy on those non-committal clients, just start taking deposits now. Now, let's move on to handling objections. You will at times have clients who give you an objection, or another word for that is an obstacle as to why they don't want to make one. That doesn't immediately mean that you won't be able to get the client to make one. You might just have to do a bit more digging. So here are some of the common objections that I get told when I ask for a deposit. The first one, and the most common, is simply, I don't make deposits. Isabelle, I would love to meet with you, but I just don't make deposits. It's my policy not to make deposits. I've never made a deposit before, something along those lines. So what I'll say to this is, I understand some people feel uncomfortable making deposits. I ask only as a show of good faith so I can set the time aside for both of us. May I ask exactly why you prefer not to make one? The important thing to know here is that I don't make a deposit isn't the actual reason. That's a smokescreen or a cover reason for the real reason. So when somebody says I don't make deposits to you, you actually have to dig a little bit deeper. So I won't immediately say, well, you have to make a deposit to meet with me. I will make it a more open conversation by asking for further information. Why don't you want to make one? What is it that makes you feel uncomfortable? Because when I find out the truth, I can probably solve it for them and get them to make the deposit. So the second thing that is most commonly said is, no other escorts ask for deposits. Why do you? You say, great question. Thank you for asking. As you have noticed, I'm not like other escorts. I really value and respect the importance of both of our time. I ask for deposits so I can firmly confirm and set aside the time for you and guarantee you that our meet is on and that neither of our time is wasted. It is a show of good faith on your part, and it allows us to move forward to planning more exciting things. So the first part of this response is that I acknowledge the fact that no, I'm not like other escorts. I actually embrace it and I make it a positive. You can even thank him. Thanks so much for noticing that I'm not like other escorts. I really pride myself on that. So that he can see that you are embracing what he said rather than trying to say, oh, no, yes, I am. You want to make that a positive for him. Then I go on to explain that both of our time is important. So I'm not just trying to make out like, oh, I only care about my time. I don't want you to waste my time. I try and show him that it's actually for both of us, because once I know that you're serious, I can be serious too, and I won't book in anything else. Now I close this by saying it allows us to move forward to planning more exciting things, which is why I don't ask for special requests before I get the deposit, because I use these special requests as something of a reward. Once I have received the deposit, then I'll let them go into all detail of all the things that they want to do. I'll suggest different things. I'll even send more selfies. So there's kind of a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, or something that entices them to make the deposit so that they can get on planning their special experience. 3, I need to remain private, so I can't make a deposit. The privacy objection is the most common one you'll get about deposits, and luckily there is a very easy fix for this one. You say, of course, I completely understand the need for discretion. Clients of mine before you have felt the same. You can actually make a totally anonymous deposit at a smart ATM or by going into a branch and making a direct deposit. By using these methods, my clients have found that their privacy has stayed completely protected, as will yours. Now, this only works if you receive cash deposits into an account. If you are using gift cards, then most clients can do that anonymously using an anonymous email, so that one is easily fixed to just change the wording. Now, the reason why I refer to other clients at the end of this response is because I want to show them and give them proof that people before them have felt that way and that they found that everything has been fine. That kind of herd mentality of knowing that this went well for someone before you, so it will go well for you too. The privacy one, like I said, is the most common. And when someone says to me, I don't make deposits, and then I dig and say, why don't you make deposits? I generally get this response. Last one is, I swear I'm genuine, I'll be there, babe. So that's actually not really a reason at all, just like the first one. That's just them trying to sidestep the fact that you've asked for it and making it sound like you think that they're not serious, which is of course exactly what you think and probably exactly what's going on. But if a client says that to you, then you say this. Thank you, I really appreciate that. To be certain that we will both be there, ready to play and have fun, I need a deposit so I can set the time aside. Once I have it, we can move on to planning the fun stuff. Now, the reason I say to be certain that we will both be there is that I'm alluding to him that I can't guarantee I'll be there unless I get the deposit. I don't say it that bluntly because it's not very cute sounding, but I can allude to it in a polite manner to show him that I need that deposit to move forward. And then I also remind him that by making the deposit, we can move on to planning the fun stuff. Now, what do you do if he still won't make a deposit? And guys, this does happen. So if he refuses to make a deposit, despite all your efforts of guaranteeing his privacy, if explaining to him that you can't move on to the fun stuff without it, everything else that we've discussed, if he refuses to do that, then the choice is yours as to whether or not you take the risk to meet with a client who has a higher probability of cancelling or flaking. Due to the nature of our industry, especially if you've been this long enough, you'll know that it's unlikely that you will ever entirely eliminate time wasters and no-shows. However, using deposits is the best way for you to drastically reduce them. and the best way for you to prioritize clients who do make deposits over clients who won't. So if you have a free day, if you're kind of around the area that you are meeting your client, if it's not too inconvenient, then I know a lot of people who will, if it's a short period of time, be willing to meet clients without a deposit and take that gamble. But just know that if that occurs, there is a higher probability that that client won't show, or they'll just do something flaky that will mean your time is wasted. Often you get clients who won't make a deposit because they don't really know what time they're going to be there, i.e. if they're going to cancel at the last second. Especially if I get clients who are coming on their lunch break. They might say something like 12-ish, but they actually get there at like 12:45. Or they won't show up because they don't end up having enough time on their lunch break and they don't want to put down money knowing that they might cancel. But they're of course not going to tell you that, so they'll come up with some other excuse. I've also been asked about how I handle cancellations and refunds. So what I usually do is I will refund deposits to clients if they give me more than 24 hours notice. This period of time is up to you. I've gone with 24 hours as it's common practice and usually gives me enough time to change my plans or book someone else in. I have seen some people who have a 48-hour policy. It's really up to you as to what you prefer. I don't have this stated on my profile and I don't totally clarify it with the client unless I feel it's necessary. It's usually pretty known that if you give 24 hours notice for an appointment that you'll get a deposit back. A lot of places do this, so that's why I've gone with that. I will keep a deposit if a client gives me less than 24 hours notice, doesn't show up or messes me around repeatedly. There was a girl that I was working with and we had a client reschedule on us about 4 times in a row outside of the 24-hour period, and on the last time we just said to him, we're keeping the deposit because you've really screwed us around so many times, basically. And he didn't end up booking again, which was great because we really didn't want to see him. Now, it may be tempting to keep deposits outside of your usual cancellation period, but I really suggest that you don't. Think long-term about your business. A client who you treat well will be far more likely to come back to book again. There are even times when a client cancels within the 24-hour period, but still with enough notice. Perhaps I haven't had anything else on that day, so it hasn't messed me around too much. They'll have a genuine reason. They'll be really apologetic. If they handle it correctly, I will sometimes say, why don't I hold the deposit for our reschedule? That's generally a great way to guarantee that the client will definitely come back and see me. You don't have to do it, but I like to do it because I think that if you prioritize your clients and make them feel like you go out of their way to treat them well, and bad things do happen all the time, then they're more likely to want to come and meet with you. So guys, that is my very simple and straightforward method to taking deposits. The key takeaway here is that you simply have to start asking for them and get over your own mental fear that asking for them will drive your clients away. Now, if you're looking for more helpful info, I really suggest you check out redfiles.com.au. They are a sex worker only online information platform, and there is a heap of other information to be sourced within this website. So go and check that out and take a look. Looking forward to speaking with you again soon. I've got another video coming up this week, so check it out on my YouTube channel. And if you need to contact me at any time, I can be reached on Isabelle@foxgirls.com.au.